About a month ago, I bought a second Pokemon Red cartridge off of eBay, so I could start up a new game and screw around without messing up my save file. As soon as I compared it to my old one, I knew it was either a bootleg or a produced somewhere else. You could see in the picture how the sticker doesn't fit in front of the cartridge, and the red plastic is cheap and almost see-through. If you look close, you could see the internal battery on the second. While the first can't be seen through at all, when I did start it up, it only had one option, new game, and unlike the well-loved cartridge I had been using, it hadn't have any wear marks or being inserted into the Game Boy Color or anything indicated that it hasn't been used. Well, what the hell? So I figured I'd poured plenty of money into the franchise, and one bootleg to the game wasn't going to kill me. I popped it into my Game Boy Color and started playing. A couple of weeks ago, I lost my Game Boy Color for a while, so I had to play it on my SP. No huge deal, I thought. When I started up the game, oddly enough, the blacklit screen of my SP went out, like I was playing on an old Game Boy Advance or Color. I thought that it was pretty weird, considering the lower setting of my SP screen was brighter than the high setting all of my friends' SPs. And I took very good care of it, and it was unlikely that the black light would be going on any time soon. But as soon as I switched to my plain Sapphire, the screen lit back up. I'd played another Red on the SP plenty, and never had dimmed an old Game Boy Color game. So I just attributed it as the game of itself by having it being poorly made, to which it makes no sense, I know. But now, you're probably wondering, when am I going to start telling you about that there was an unknown in the party, and that the buried alive guy in Lavender Town started eating my player character, because my pre-owned bootleg game story had been bound to be some creepy hacked shit. Well, it wasn't that simple. I played through Lavender Town and the Pokemon Tower, and after that, nothing unusual happened. I didn't go mad from the music or feel suicidal, but my Pokemon never turned white and started crying tears of blood or anything like that. However, as I continued playing, it became apparent to me that the game had some glitches, just like the cheap plastic casing and sticker that barely stuck. The game itself was flaky. I have never played Pokemon on the emulator before, but if I had to guess, I would say that when it was copied, a lot of the data was corrupted, and I had to be careful when playing it, or else it would freeze. For an example, sometimes these graphics around the player, I am going to call him Red, that's what I named him, was a bit of a Red fanboy, and would turn into big colored bars in the game that would stop, and the background music would just stop on whatever note had hit it and then played as a high-pitched, stackly whine until I restart. This happened whenever I tried to get on my bike inside a cave or building. I was almost sure that, just like a normal bootlegged game, until I examined the SNES in the Celadon department store. Don't judge me about me being a Red fanboy. I've always liked it when the game said stuff from Red's point of view. Like how he says, "Dad would like this." When you examine the SNES, or I should get going, when you examine the TV, since you never get to see the player say anything, to the point where it is a joke, the developers made a Red say nothing more than ellipses when you encountered him in GCSC. Anyways, when I examined the SNES where Red would normally say, "Dad would like this," instead I saw the text saying, "Where's Dad?" I examined it again and the same thing. I kind of laughed it off. Thinking of it for some reason, it was poorly transitioned. Don't ask how I know that made any sense. In the back of my mind, I was kind of hoping for a hacked game because, hey, I got some screen caps and posted them on 4chan. I'd still be able to at least kill an afternoon laughing about it. I went to the next door floor and then went back down and checked the NES again. To my surprise, the message had now changed to Red saying, "Who created me?" At this point, I was pretty sure that I had been added by some hacker who I thought it was kind of awesome. Hell, Red even found out that he was really just a video game character. That's pretty funny. But after that, after falling into what kind of added in dialogue, I continued on the game's story, at least to the point I was about to hear a part where you surfed to Cinnabar and the Seafoam Islands. But the glitching was getting worse. Sometimes the map would get distorted, like Glitchy City. But Red would be surfing on a tree or a house or some shit, and I couldn't move. I had to fly out and try again. And as a kid, I'd always liked using the Misno and Glitch City. I had a Game Shark back in the day, so glitches were kind of cool. Eventually, I made it to Cinnabar. Now, being an avid glitcher was way back then, of course, the first thing I did was fly back to Viridian, do the old man trick, but no matter how many times I tried, I could never get past the missing node to appear. I thought that maybe the ROM had been edited to be preventing glitching, but clearly that wasn't the case, and as the thing had more bugs than a Viridian forest. Instead, when I entered the Pokemon Mansion, I was greeted by the next window. Red. Nice try, Red. It was obvious that where this Red was the name of whoever you played and the name of your character. What freaked that was Red all in all caps as the speaker. At this point, I had to know I have an edited game. The player was just telling me nice try after that, but I failed to do the missing no. The game froze again and I had restarted, and I haven't saved since before I tried the missing no glitch. But when I turned the game on again, I was back to the mansion, exactly where the window had popped up. I couldn't move again, so I went ahead and played for the mansion. Call me a chicken, but despite my excitement, I was scared. So I played slowly and with all the lights on, and I was still playing on my SP, and the internal lights didn't work. So I was used to that justification for me being a massive chicken. Things only got weirder after I got to the mansion. I got the message. PA, ding dong, time's up. Your safari game is over. Having done Glitch City in the past, I knew this would happen whenever you flew out of the safari zone. As expected, I was outside of the safari zone, the gate, when I hit A. The attendants asking me if I got a good haul. I had an immense feeling of foreboding whenever I leave the gate. I'd scared to be in Glitch City, or worse, I had Filer, but you will have to understand, it's a little unnerving. Instead, I was in Pallet Town, but there were no music, nothing. Another text window appeared. Red, this isn't where I'm from. I've been lied to. I couldn't move the player at all after that, so I wanted to reset, but something popped up. Instead of the start menu, it went to the fly out of nowhere, but to my horror, the Pidgeot I used for fly wasn't there. Just to my Blastoise, Exeggutor, Kadabra, Mew from the Nugget Bridge glitch, and Kangaskhan in Pidgeot's place was a level 16 Raticate with 1 HP and it was poisoned. I checked its stats and it had the OT Blue, and it had a Hyper Beam, Quick Attack, Glare, and Skull Bash. I don't even know if Raticate can learn all these moves. I've since heard of that Gary's Raticate died seriously in the game, but I had named Gary Dumbass in the game for a few laughs. I guess the OT name Blue just came from the fact that Blue was the opposite to Red version. Maybe it was supposed to have come from the Blue cartridge. I know Rattata doesn't evolve to level 20, so this was still pretty much an obvious hack. I had some antidotes and potions in my bag, so I figure, what the hell, I heal it. But when I left the Pokemon menu, the entire start menu closed. I couldn't open again. I tried walking, and this time I was able to move. I took a few steps, forgetting about the poison until the box popped up again. Red, we killed it. At this point I was getting a little freaked out. No shit. I went to my party and Raticate wasn't there at all. Neither was my Pidgeot. The slot was empty and I closed the menu and tried to move again. But nothing. I wanted to turn the game off in case if it somehow saved again, just so I can keep trying to move before remembering that my Kadabra still knew teleport. When I hit start, nothing happened. I kept trying to move, but I couldn't move. No, Red wasn't letting me move. Red, this happened to me. Why? At this point, I just shut the game off. I took the hack red version out of it and put it in the fire red. Like with my old game, it had the player red for some reason. It still kind of scared me. I started it up, and to my horror, the screen was still dimmed. I hit continued on my main menu, but when I tried to open up the game, I got the message saying that my save data had been lost or corrupted. And when I started, the game froze. The music was just being a staticky whine. At this point, I was really desperate to play some Pokemon where no weird shit was going on, but I was pissed that my Fire Red version was broken, so I threw the Sapphire in and started it up. The screen lit up normally, but at the moment, maybe something was wrong with my SP that broke my Fire Red. I didn't want that to happen to my Sapphire with Jirachi from the Colonium and the Feebas that had taken me an hour to find, so I shut it off and pulled it out. I started playing what I call Glitchy Red version again about a week ago. When I started back up, I was still in Pallet Town, and there was music, and things seemed normal, except for the empty slot in my party and my SP screen no longer lighting up. I biked to Viridian and found Pidgeot safely in my PC, so I figured what the hell and took it out to fly to Cinnabar Island to fight Blaine. When I went to unlock the gym, to my surprise, another text box. Red. No. No matter how many times I tried, the game refused to believe I had the secret key, despite it being there in my bag. Red wasn't letting me in. Red, everything happened to me. Happened because of the world left it happen. I didn't become an hero on my own. I was manipulated. I never unlocked the door. The door was unlocked because the game lets me in. Everything you do because the game lets you. Because of how the boxes were, it took a pretty long time to scroll through. And the whole time I was writing this down, he was saying that I had it on reference. Things were getting a little too Silent Hill for me. And then once again, I tried to move, but Red wouldn't let me. Red, I'm going to show you how it feels to be unable to choose your own fate. I gave up and opened up the start menu again, and I'm glad I could, and I used Pidgeot to fly out of there. I knew that this was only because Red was letting me fly out. He was toying with me. I flew to Lavender because, shockingly enough, nothing weird had ever happened there. From Lavender, I walked down to try to go to Fuchsia. But as soon as I left Lavender, Red was at it again. No. Well, damn it, I thought. I opened up the menu and flew to Fuchsia, and when I got there, I nearly shat my pants and dropped my SP. It was the glitchy city you get while surfing to Cinnabar's coast. Immediately the menu popped up, for the way it does in the new Mew glitch, and it was asking me to save the game. There was no option for no, so pressing B did nothing. I shut my game off. When I started it back up again, I was still in Glitch City, and I checked my party the way Red wanted to. Pidgeot and Kadabra were there, but instead of teleport and fly, appearing was a selected item. There was only cursed and not curse. And like that, freaking retarded creepy black pasta, but cursed, I was smart enough to not click it. I hit B until I was out of the menu, but Red was telling me shit again. You're staying here with me, Red. They replaced me because I was glitched and not good enough. I thought that it was my story, but I'm just a character in my game. They took everything from me. My voice, my freedom, my legacy. They replaced me with the brown-eyed kid. I understood what he meant by the Fire Red version, and the Gold, Silver, and Crystal versions where he had been demoted to the final boss. He let me move. To my surprise, the game never froze, even when I was walking on water and stepping onto the houses. Eventually, I went so far because the screen turned black around my player. Am I a joke to you? A yes or no option popped up, and I can't tell how fast I hit no. Red. Then why do you do things to me? Why do you corrupt my world and show me glitches that aren't mentia? Why would you do that to hurt me, you missing no? I never wanted to hurt Red. It was just for fun. The game had bugs, but it was all exploded from them fun, right? Red. Why do I have to die just because I'm a hero? I shut off my game off that night and had a dream that I was a Pokemon trainer. The player from Fire Red, who I will never think again as Red, I was being chased by a white pale body. I could feel the pain in my dreams. I know some people can. The pale figure eventually caught to me and ripped my chest with the sides with his nails. The last thing I saw before I woke up was the face of the attacker, a little boy with bright eyes, black hair, and a black, red, and white hat. For the next few days when I played, it was because I had to. I was trapped in the blackness because Red refused to let me go, because he was forsaken and forgotten, just to be left by players who came back from out of nostalgia and explode the bugs. Because I played so much, I almost always wanted a headache from the high-pitched noises that the game makes. I had to call out of the word sick. I just couldn't never move. But I found the comfort in staring in the screen with a black background around my player. Red, he didn't say anything to me. I couldn't play Fire Red again, even though it had worked on my DS yesterday. When I finally got to Mount Silver on Heart Gold, I couldn't bring myself to battle Red. I don't know what he'd do to me if he beats his replacement. Would he be angry? Happy? Would his defeat put in as a spirit of peace? I don't know. No matter how many times I played the games, Red will always suffer the same fate. Because he's a hero, and because the games only let him go so far, Red will never again be able to experience the glory of being a hero, and neither will we. No matter how many times you start a new game, it will never be the same as you first played. You know what's going to happen, and if you play for nostalgia, it's because the game is you now. I killed Red, and as you did, unlike Ash Ketchum, he's never going to be the hero of any new game in another brand new region. In Heart Gold, Gold's success for Ethan had taken his accomplishments from him being the ones to catch Pokemon Red that I've found so far. Mewtwo, Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres. His life is over for him. He became such a legend that there was nothing left of him to even be proud of himself. I finished Glitchy Red yesterday, and when I finally checked my trainer card, there was a sprite of Red as he appeared in GSC, but in the game from the Macronom, the color scheme, it was just red and green. When I looked closer at the red pixels, making his shirt look darker and arranged oddly, almost as if he was bleeding from the chest. None of my badges or the time played or trainer ID, it was just a sprite. When I turned to the menu, instead of the name appearing as Red, there was the word gone from my trainer card. I selected it, and this time, the card was blank. Red. Go on ahead and forget me now. Goodbye. The game reset all the way it does when you beat the champion. This time there was only one option. New game. I found my Game Boy Color earlier that day and started playing it from where I left on my SP. The screen lit up and everything was normal. I had to start a new game on my Fire Red, but it's working again. Even bootlegged Red version played normally, no glitches, but I can never see Red silenced the same way again, or ever the hilarious missing note and glitch bugs. I have much deeper respect for the silent protagonist in the game. For now, we all put them through Lavender Town. Used to creep me out, but now I find it very peaceful, and even a Red who wanted revenge on the world that had treated him horribly could never mess with the resting peace of a fallen Pokemon. Someday I hope I stop waking up to scratches on my torso. Well, I guess it's been a long time since I last did a Pokepasta. So I think it might have been months or something. So I thought, I'm going to go ahead and review this Pokepasta called Glitchy Red. Now, most of you guys probably remember this story. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys remember. But, yeah. This story was definitely a weird-ass one. I mean, it's a pretty good creepypasta. I mean, it's an older pasta, like a classic. I mean, it's really that good. So, like, with the whole concept of its own self, it honestly really gets there. Like, I mean, I actually heard of a couple narrations of this story, and I definitely gotta say, it's a old Pokemon pasta, but it's still a really good creepypasta. So, like, I love the fact that, the whole thing was just flat out amazing with the grammar of this story was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. I like the story very much a lot. It's got a good concept and everything. It's pretty good. I mean, I honestly thought it was really enjoyable to an extent. I honestly do find the story to have a really good, it's pretty good. I mean, yeah, I mean, there were a few cliches in this story. I mean, I did spot a few cliches, such as the cartridge and the glitchy cliches and that. But for some reason, I honestly could see this being the case. I know it's like an older story. It's like almost 10 years old, maybe. But I still find this to be a really good Pokepasta. And I know I haven't did one in like a really long time, but I kind of wanted to do one because I haven't did one in like a long time. But yeah, this story was definitely, well, not the bad story, but it's definitely a decent story. Maybe it's not perfect, but hey, I mean, despite the cliches, it still is honestly really good. And I still really find that it was pretty well made. Especially the whole, the idea of the concept seemed to be, well done. I honestly still find it to be pretty amazing, well made. It's honestly, if I gotta be fair, it's honestly a pretty good Pokepasta. I know I haven't read the story in like a while. I think the last time I did it was maybe at least, I think I checked the story out maybe a month ago, but I never had the time to take a look at it. But I thought, you know what? Let's do this story, because, why not? This story does have somewhat of a good, interesting, it has an interesting concept despite the cliches. I still find it to be a pretty good story. Like, despite the cliches, I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I personally didn't think it was that bad at all. I honestly thought it was really well made and well done. It's a pretty damn good story. So, what I'm going to sit here and say is that, to the author of the story, I can't seem to find your name, so I'm going to leave this as anonymous for now. If the author of the story somehow finds this video, lets me know in the comments that they're the ones that wrote the story, I'll be sure to give them proper credit then. But until then, I'm not going to really say, when, I mean, not when, but like who's the author of the story, because I don't know yet. But if the author finds this video, they can let me know in the comments below, and I'll be sure to give them proper credit then. So anyways, with that being said, this is just simply my own personal opinion. If you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. I'm going to give this story at least a, what should I put it? Oh yeah, I'm going to give this story at least a 10 out of 10. Wait a second, scratch what I said. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Despite the cliches in there, I mean, it's an older story, but I'm willing to give some of the cliches a pass. But yeah, I mean, despite the cliches being there, I still find the story to be well made. So I'm going to say, what did you guys personally think of this story? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better. Feel free to leave me what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you're new to my channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro, because I'm out.